What is spirituality, right? Spirituality. If you notice the word spirituality, it has uality, which is duality, which is two. Two becomes one. Spirit is what? Mind, called soul. So spirituality has to do with the self and what we call the spirit, or what you would call the soul. The soul. So we have soul, spirit, mind, body. Actuality, soul and spirits are akin to each other. They're like one and the same. They're like the same thing. It's like saying tomato and tomato. So some people get it confused. They think the soul is different. So spirituality and quantum physics, they are a match made in heaven, and few people know that. How do we know that? Because now we're realizing that everything is actually spirit. Nothing is physical. And then we talk spirituality. We bring in religion, comes into spirituality, and the actual stuff. I mean, religion has nothing to do with spirituality. Spirituality is a knowing of the self. It's a part of the conscious being of you. So when you have spirituality, it's totally a different experience. Once you can discover your spirituality, guys, it takes things to a whole another level, so to speak. Mind, body, spirit, right? Now, quantum physics and spirituality. Spirituality is quantum physics. Quantum physics is spirituality. The quantum world is spiritual. The spiritual world is quantum. Everything is a quantum spiritual thing. There's nothing in a physical sense. Someone asked me this question when they talked about the live. They say, Mark, can you talk more about how we are particles of particles, and we're constantly switching different dimensions consistently? And I'd like to talk about that now. So if you understand that, time is never linear, time is simultaneous. The past and the future and the present are all happening in this very moment. We make up linear time. It's a human construct. And how do we know this now through quantum physics work? Because now we understand that every particle, you are constantly, the natural state of you, a being, a spiritual being, is a state of superposition. What is a superposition state? A superposition state means that you exist in all the possible directions, all the possible things that can happen. You exist in this state right now. What happens is when Mark decides to think about something or observe something, Mark deactivates the superposition state, and now my particle, the electron, now starts to perform or to become what Mark expects. But Mark's natural state is always in an infinite possibilities of things to happen. Today Mark decided to take this route to go get coffee or something. When Mark took that route, Mark's superposition splits off into another state where Mark took the other route. Today Mark decided to wear this shirt. Superposition, Mark wore another shirt. This hat, Mark without his hat. This glasses, Mark. Everything splits into a possibility. It doesn't mean that this Mark is doing it, but it means the possibility or the probability of Mark has existed in another dimension where Mark cannot see or interact with it. So at that state, so if everything is in a superposition state, it means that every moment that I move through time, I am moving in a different dimension simultaneously. I am constantly shifting into different vibrations of dimensions that there's no way I can detect those things, because my body and my brain hasn't evolved to that higher level to experience these different fields. And we know this because now you guys know that our eyes can only see a fraction of true nature of reality. 96% is hidden in sight and sound to us. 96% of your world is hidden in sight and sound. You only see and hear 4%. Let's talk about the sound part, because you know about the sight part. But what I'm saying is 96% of sounds that are going on around you right now that you cannot detect or interact with from a conscious being's point of view. Got that? So let that sink in, right? The unified field is what drives and creates all of this. So there is this field that exists, and that my conscious glitches and I become Mark, your consciousness glitches and you become who you are. Everything is emitted from this field. This field is where all the creative stuff happens. And in physics they call that unified field theory, unified field, quantum foam, what else they call it? They call it 0-point energy field. It's a lot of different names, but it's the source of our existence. So when you switch from a different dimension consistently, if you think about the deeper meaning or the deeper implications of that, what does it really mean? Well, it really starts to say that if I am every single moment of every time I am in a different dimension of possibility and probability, it means that you literally have the ability to become a different version of yourself, to experience your best version. Now, knowing that and doing is two different things. The trick is, how do you activate that stuff? All right? So to activate, to become the best version of yourself, is number one is to know that it's happening. You're constantly switching vibrations. Now let me say something before I move on. Now I talk about the sound thing missing, right? 96%. So have you ever wondered, like when you get intuition coming in, that could be from that different sound that you can't pick up. How about when you have that feeling, that could be from that dimension. Or when you hear something talking to you, but you pick it up, but you don't pick it up in your conscious mind, you pick it up through your etheric self, which is the unconscious, subconscious part. Now the thing about this field, we are constantly connected to this field through our subconscious. You're not connected to the field through your conscious mind. Okay, so remember that. Okay, you're not connected to the conscious mind, you're only connected to the etheric or your spiritual self, which is through your subconscious. Your conscious mind just interprets or experiences the thing that you activate through that part of your mind.